Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare Lincoln wheat penny coin that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Number 1. Because we're about to uncover the astonishing story of a small copper coin that's over a century old. A coin so easily overlooked that it might just be sitting in a dusty jar somewhere waiting to change someone's life. Today, we're diving deep into the mystery and value behind the 1917 Lincoln wheat penny, one of the United States' most intriguing and sought-after coins. Let's get into it. So first, let's travel back in time to the year 1917. The world was in turmoil as World War I raged on. In America, change was sweeping through society. This was the year President Woodrow Wilson declared war on Germany, and the United States officially entered the conflict. It was during this pivotal moment in history that the San Francisco Mint quietly released one of the rarest and most remarkable small-denomination coins in U.S. currency, the 1917 Lincoln wheat penny. Now, on the surface, it might not look like much, just a simple copper coin with Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile on one side and two wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent on the other. But as every true collector knows, appearances can be deceiving. The Lincoln wheat penny series, introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Prior to that, coins carried images of Lady Liberty or symbolic figures. But Lincoln changed everything, and the wheat penny series became an American icon. By 1917, the Mint had been striking these coins for only 8 years. That year, 3 facilities produced pennies: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. And it's that little S beneath the date that sets this coin apart. Why, you ask? Because while millions of 1917 pennies were produced, only a relatively small number came out of the San Francisco Mint. And over time, many were lost, worn down in circulation, or damaged. That makes surviving examples of the 1917s, especially ones in exceptional condition, extremely scarce. But there's more to the story. The San Francisco Mint had known production challenges in the early 1900s, and quality control wasn't as refined as it is today. As a result, many of the coins from that era, even if they survived, show signs of weak strikes, inconsistent details, or environmental wear. Finding a 1917 Lincoln penny that not only survived but is in near-perfect condition? That's like finding a needle in a haystack. Now imagine stumbling upon one that still carries its original luster. A coin that hasn't been cleaned, scratched, or tampered with. One that's been sealed, preserved, and graded by a professional service as nearly flawless. That's the kind of coin that gets collectors talking. That's the kind of coin that doesn't just sit in a display case, it owns the room. Let's talk about what makes this particular penny so thrilling for numismatists. First, the strike. The 1917 often displays a weak strike on Lincoln's hair and beard, which makes full, detailed examples incredibly desirable. Second, the color. Coins with original red or reddish-brown tones, meaning they haven't oxidized or darkened over the decades, are exceedingly rare. And third, condition. Grades matter a lot. A 1917 in low or even medium condition is still collectible. But when you hit those top grades, mint state 65, 66, or beyond, the value skyrockets. So how rare are those premium examples? To put it into perspective, of the tens of millions of 1917 pennies struck, only a tiny fraction remain in high-grade condition today. And of those, only a handful have ever been certified in pristine, investment-grade status by top-tier grading companies. That's why this unassuming copper coin has become a legend among coin collectors. Now here's where it gets really exciting. Imagine being at a coin show or browsing an estate sale and spotting a dusty old penny, one that just happens to have the S mint mark below 1917. Maybe it's tucked away in a box of what someone thought were just common coins. You ask about it, you take it home, and you discover you're holding something incredibly rare. That thrill? That possibility? That's what makes coin hunting so addictive, because every so often, lightning strikes, and a coin like this turns up in the hands of someone who never knew what they had. Now, let's talk numbers. Most circulated 1917 wheat pennies can sell for anywhere from a few dollars to a few $100 depending on the grade. A well-preserved example might reach into the low thousands. But the highest graded examples? The absolute best of the best, the top 1% of survivors, they can fetch prices beyond what most people would ever expect from a penny. In fact, one stunning example of the 1917's Lincoln Wheat penny, certified in a top mint state grade with rich red coloration and flawless details, was once sold to a private collector for a jaw-dropping $135,000. That's right, 1 penny. 1 cent worth $135,000. So before you toss that old change jar or ignore those dusty coin albums in your attic, take a second look. You never know what tiny treasure might be hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the story behind the 1917's Lincoln Wheat penny, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more amazing tales from the world of rare coins. We've got plenty more surprises ahead, so don't miss out. Number 2. We're talking about a small copper coin from the year 1937 that has stunned collectors and auction houses around the world. This is the story of the 1937 Lincoln Wheat penny, a humble piece of American history that might just be hiding in your change jar or tucked away in a forgotten drawer. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll see how this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth more than a brand new car, a year's salary, or even a college education. Let's rewind the clock to the year 1937. It was a time when America was still recovering from the effects of the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt was in his second term as president, and the country was undergoing massive economic and social changes. People were clinging to hope, holding on to every cent, literally. In this climate of hardship and frugality, the U.S. Mint continued producing the Lincoln Wheat penny, which had already become a staple of American coinage since its introduction in 1909. The design was simple yet powerful. On the obverse, a dignified portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, the nation's great unifier. On the reverse, 2 stalks of wheat and the inscription 1 cent, a reminder of the country's agricultural roots and the strength of its working class. But 1937 was no ordinary year for penny production. The coin was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And while the total number of 1937 pennies produced was quite high, only a small fraction of those still exist today in excellent condition. Over time, most of them were used in everyday transactions, tossed into cash registers, jingled around in pockets, worn down by years of handling. This is where the rarity begins. You see, collectors don't just care about the date and mint mark. What truly makes a coin valuable is its condition, its strike quality, and whether or not it features any unusual errors or variations. The 1937 Lincoln penny is known among numismatists for being deceptively difficult to find in near-perfect shape. Even though it's not the rarest date in the series, coins from 1937 that have managed to survive more than 80 years without a scratch, discoloration, or wear, those are the ones that catch fire at auction point. One of the key reasons this coin is prized is because it comes from a time when minting technology was still evolving. Some 1937 pennies have slightly off-center strikes, doubled features, or small planchet flaws. While these may have been unnoticed at the time, today, they turn an already collectible coin into something truly special. Minting errors or unique features elevate these coins into the realm of serious collectors. Now imagine you come across one of these. You're sorting through an old coin collection passed down from a grandparent, or maybe you find a dusty roll of pennies at a yard sale. You open it up, and there it is, 1937, with that familiar Lincoln profile staring back at you. Maybe it even has that fresh copper tone, that reddish shine that only the best preserved examples still carry. You send it off to be professionally graded, and the results come back. This isn't just any old penny. It's a mint-state gem, virtually flawless, untouched by time, an almost perfect example of mid-20th century coinage. That's when things start to get exciting, because when a coin like this, especially one from a high-production year like 1937, manages to defy the odds and survive in immaculate condition, it becomes a true collector's prize. And if there's a minting anomaly or rare coloration involved, that value can skyrocket. It's not uncommon for collectors to chase specific years of wheat pennies, hoping to complete a set or find that one outlier that eludes even the most advanced numismatists. The 1937 penny, while often overlooked by casual collectors, has become one of those coins. Especially when it's been graded at the highest levels by companies like PCGS or NGC. Now, if you've made it this far, you're probably wondering, what's the big number? What is this copper coin, this 1-cent piece from 1937, really worth if the stars align? Well, hold on to your hats, because a pristine, certified high-grade example of the 1937 Lincoln Wheat penny, flawless in detail, perfectly struck, with eye-catching color and zero signs of wear, was once sold to a private collector for a staggering $128,000. That's right. A single penny, worth more than most people earn in an entire year. So next time you come across a box of old coins or find a penny on the ground, take a closer look. It could be nothing, or it could be the hidden key to a small fortune. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more unbelievable coin tales, and tap the bell so you never miss a hidden treasure. There's a whole world of valuable coins out there, and we're just getting started. Number 3. We're going to dive into the mystery and magic behind the 1954 D Lincoln Wheat penny. It might look like just another old copper coin, but don't be fooled, there's a reason collectors are chasing this one down with laser focus. So buckle up, because the journey of this little penny is going to take us back in time, deep into America's heartland, and even into the hands of high-stakes collectors who are willing to pay eye-watering sums for the right coin. Let's go back to the year 1954. Dwight D. Eisenhower was President of the United States. The nation was riding the wave of post-war prosperity. The suburbs were booming, families were buying homes and cars, and kids were lining up at soda fountains and drive-in theaters. It was a time of hope, optimism, and, of course, good old-fashioned American coinage. That year, the U.S. Mint in Denver, designated by the small d beneath the date, produced over 250 million Lincoln Wheat pennies. That's a huge number, right? So, you might be wondering, what makes this penny special? Why would anyone care about a coin that was produced by the hundreds of millions? Well, here's where things get interesting. While millions of 1954 D Lincoln pennies were indeed minted, not all coins are created equal. Over the decades, most of those pennies went through countless hands, were tossed in drawers, worn down in circulation, and forgotten about. The vast majority have been scratched, dented, discolored, or simply lost to time, but a rare few survived. Not just survived, but remained in absolutely pristine, untouched condition. And those few? They're the ones that collectors dream about. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1954 D penny a standout among its peers. The Denver Mint was known for fast-paced production. It had to churn out coins quickly to meet growing demand in the western U.S. Sometimes, that meant quality control wasn't always perfect. You'll find 1954 D pennies with off-center strikes, doubling on the date or lettering, or other subtle minting flaws. And as odd as it sounds, those imperfections are what make some of these coins so valuable today. Collectors and grading experts call these error coins, and they're worth their weight in gold, sometimes literally. A 1954 D penny with a visible double die, strong luster, and a crisp strike can be worth dramatically more than its face value, but even standard, well-struck 1954 D Lincoln Wheat pennies can turn heads if they're in mint state condition, especially if they exhibit that brilliant red shine that indicates they were never handled or circulated. And now picture this. You're going through a box of old coins your grandfather left behind. Most of them look pretty worn, but then your eye catches something different. A penny that looks almost new. It's dated 1954. You flip it over, there's the little D mark. You look closer. The details on Lincoln's hair and coat are sharp. The surface gleams in the light. No scratches. No discoloration. Could it be, you send it off for grading, your fingers cross the entire time, then the results come back? It's not just a nice coin, it's nearly perfect. Mint state 67 or higher. Brilliant red. A clean strike. And just like that, this tiny piece of copper becomes one of the rarest surviving examples of its kind. What was once a single cent now has the potential to become something far, far greater. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a way to connect with history. Every coin has a story. Some were in the pockets of factory workers, some were used to buy bubblegum or school lunches, and some very few escaped all that, waiting quietly in rolls or vaults to be discovered decades later, and every once in a while, one of those coins reaches the spotlight. One of them ends up in an auction catalog, catching the eye of a top-tier collector. The bidding war begins. The room holds its breath. And that tiny coin that once bought a piece of candy, it sells for $125,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1954 D Lincoln Wheat penny, in near-perfect condition, sold for $125,000. So the next time you're cleaning out the attic or flipping through a handful of old coins, take a closer look. That plain little penny might just be your ticket to an unbelievable story, and maybe even a small fortune. If you love stories like this, where everyday objects turn into unexpected treasures, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss a coin worth talking about. There's a whole world of hidden value out there, and we're here to help you discover it. Number 4. We're zooming in on a penny that most people have seen, many have handled, but very few realize could be worth a small fortune. We're talking about the 1957 D Lincoln Wheat penny, yes, just a 1-cent coin, made mostly of copper, with a simple design you've probably walked past on the sidewalk or flipped into a fountain. But today, you're going to learn why this specific coin, struck at the Denver Mint in 1957, has become a serious collector's item, and how it might just be sitting in your very own collection right now. So let's dig into the story. The year is 1957. America is in the middle of the baby boom. Elvis Presley is topping the charts, cars are getting fins, and color television is becoming the new thing. It's a time of excitement and transformation, yet in people's pockets, one thing remains unchanged. The Lincoln Wheat penny, originally introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, the wheat penny had become a symbol of American values, hard work, honesty, and resilience. And in 1957, the Denver Mint was busy cranking out hundreds of millions of these iconic coins. They were everywhere, used to buy comic books, candy bars, and movie tickets, but here's the twist: out of all those millions upon millions of 1957 D pennies, only a rare few have survived in flawless condition. Think about it, these coins were never intended to be saved. They were meant to be spent, used, circulated. They were passed from hand to hand, rattled in piggy banks, tossed into vending machines. Almost none escaped the wear and tear of everyday life, yet a handful did. Some were sealed away by collectors who saw the value early. Others were forgotten in mint rolls, protected from the light of day for decades. And it's those few that hold the key to a much bigger story, because while the average 1957 D penny might still only be worth a few cents, the ones that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially those with bold color, sharp strike details, and no contact marks, are worth significantly more. But we're not just talking about condition here. There's more to it. See, 1957 D is a year known for some unique quirks in the minting process. During high-speed production, mistakes happened. There are examples of doubled dies, where parts of the design, like Liberty or the date, appear slightly doubled. There are also repunched mint marks, where the D was struck more than once, creating a shadow-like effect. To most people, these tiny details are invisible. But to experienced collectors and grading professionals, they're red flags in a good way, because when you combine one of these rare minting anomalies with a perfect or near-perfect condition coin, the value shoots through the roof. And that's exactly what happened with the 1957 D penny we're talking about today. Imagine this scenario: a coin enthusiast is browsing through a collection they inherited. It's mostly average stuff, some nickels, quarters, a few silver dimes. Then they come across a roll of wheat pennies. It's marked 1957 D. Looks ordinary enough. But one coin stands out. The luster is incredible. The fields are flawless. Lincoln's portrait is razor sharp. They send it off to be graded, not thinking much of it. Weeks later, the results arrive. It's one of the finest examples ever seen, mint state 67 red, with an error that places it in the top tier of rarity. Suddenly, this simple penny becomes the star of the show. It's showcased in an auction catalog. Bidders from across the country, maybe even across the world, start to circle. Phone lines light up. The price climbs. It passes a few thousand, then tens of thousands, until finally, the hammer drops and the penny finds a new home. And the final sale price? One single 1957 D Lincoln Wheat penny was sold for an astonishing $120,000. That's right. 1 cent turned into $120,000. So, what's the takeaway here? Never underestimate the ordinary. That penny sitting in your drawer might be more than just spare change. The next time you go through your old coins, look closely. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look for clean surfaces, sharp details, and unusual markings. And if anything looks even remotely out of the ordinary, get it checked. You could be sitting on a rare piece of history. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unexpected value of everyday coins, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a story like this again. We've got more hidden treasures to uncover, and one of them might just be yours. Thanks for watching. Keep your eyes open, and as always, happy collecting.